If Bianca Belair is not on your top 5 women's wrestlers in WWE, then we can't be friends. What's up, guys? Today I have a IWC top 10 list that needs fixing. Today's list is the top 10 women in WWE wrestling. Make sure to stick with me until the end of this video where I will reveal who the actual number 1 woman in all of WWE is. The answer might shock anybody that knows me. So I've not taken a look at this list yet. I was sent this list in the casual wrestling email, and I was asked to blindly react to this list. I think before we get into the actual list, I just want to try and get into the mindset of the IWC and guess who we could possibly see on a list created by the internet. Now, this list was updated, I believe, on May 1st of this year, so very, very recently updated. So it should be a fairly accurate depiction of who the IWC is riding with within WWE. I expect to see at least 3 NXT names on this list if we're speaking about the IWC. I'm expecting to see maybe a Julia. I'm expecting to see a Roxanne Perez. I'm expecting to see a Stephanie Vaquer. I don't know the full parameters of this list, but I believe if it says WWE, that it's encompassing the entire company of WWE, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually go into the NXT side of the roster or if they just stick to the main roster names. As far as maybe mainline WWE stars, I expect to see the IWC really lay into like an Alexa Bliss, somebody who I don't know has proven anything in her comeback. I expect them to roll pretty hard for a Liv Morgan and Io Sky. You'll probably see Charlotte rise pretty high up this list with IWC. Maybe a Bayley. Those are the names I'm expecting to see from a list that comes from the IWC. I maybe not casuals, maybe, but I think the IWC rolls hard with some of these people. So let's get into it. I expect this list to be very avant-garde. I expect this list to kind of throw me some swerves at some point. So we'll react to it as we see what's coming. So here's the actual list. The IWC, let me pull it up. At number 10, the IWC has gone with Naomi. This is interesting. I guess this does feel a little bit IWC to me. When you're talking top 10 in WWE right now, I don't think this is a bad choice. Because we're in the moment of right now. I don't want this to be built off of merit or what you've done in the past. And I think Naomi is a solid choice at number 10. Her work recently has been absolutely fantastic. So I have no problem starting off this list with the IWC at number 10, Naomi. At number 9, the IWC has Bianca Belair. So we already have a problem then. We already have a problem. If Bianca Belair is not in your top 5 women's wrestlers in WWE, we can't be friends. That's just the way it goes. Anybody who has Bianca Belair above the top 5, she is very good on a microphone. She is very good in the ring. She has every intangible you want to be a professional wrestler. To have her number 9 is fucking egregious. This is egregious, IWC. Everything after this on this list is invalidated from my point of view. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, we have Charlotte Flair. Now, I think this may go over interesting with people who listen to the show, but I think this is a pretty fair assessment of Charlotte Flair. I think after WrestleMania, she just doesn't have the same kind of cachet that she had pre-WrestleMania. So I expect on my list to find Charlotte Flair about this deep. So I'm interested that the IWC threw her down to number 8. Now, what gets interesting here, 3 picks in, and we've seen Charlotte and Bianca Belair. That means that the top of this list could get fairly interesting as we move up. So Number 7 is Asuka. Now, a list that has been updated by May 1st. It seems interesting to me that Asuka right now is on a top 10 list of WWE wrestlers, female wrestlers, because you have to be available, and she's not available right now. So while I understand, in a moment where Asuka is available, she's definitely worthy of being on a top 10 list, but I can't put somebody like this on my top 10 list if they're just not available, if they're not healthy, if they're not showing up. I don't know that I can put you on my top 10 list. Number 6, they have Bayley. I expected this. The IWC has an immense amount of respect for Bayley, rightfully so. Bayley's one of the OGs. Lately, Bayley's kind of lost in the mix. The getting kept off of the WrestleMania card was not a great look for Bayley. Maybe there's a plan at play for her to come back and do something with Becky when she's all mended up and better. But the reality is, like I said, availability is the best ability, and Bayley's not available right now, and she really hasn't, since her last title run, she hasn't done much to give me a reason to put her on a top 10 list. At number 5, we have Liv Morgan. Expected to see this name much, much higher on an IWC list. I think, number 5, we're now in the top 5 women of all of WWE, which is a pretty esteemed list to be on. To see Liv Morgan as number 5 surprises me a little bit, but rightfully so. She deserves to be on this list. At number 4, we have Becky the Man Lynch. No arguments here. I'm a Becky Lynch fan. I know there's a lot of people in our community that are not Becky Lynch fans, but I do think, while I think Becky has lost a step, I think she's taken a step back, I still think that when you look at the landscape of women's wrestling, especially in WWE, Becky is still one of the best women's wrestlers available on the roster. So no argument here at number 4. Interesting enough, I'm not seeing any NXT names, which is, this being updated May 1st, I'm interested that I'm not seeing this. Number 3, we have Alexa Bliss. I expected to see this name. She is the IWC darling of IWC darlings when it comes to WWE. The IWC loves her. I love Alexa Bliss. I don't have a problem with Alexa Bliss, but once again, availability is the best ability, and she is currently MIA. Whether they're rebuilding up the Wyatt Six, whatever they're doing, they need to hurry up and get that shit back on TV, because SmackDown has been a little bit of a tough watch these last couple of weeks. I have no problem with Alexa Bliss being on a top 10 list. That's not an issue. My bigger issue, I think, would be with her being top 3 on a list that's curated to May 1st. That's wild to me that Alexa Bliss still holds this amount of weight within the IWC is extremely interesting to me. At number 2, this is no surprise, Io Sky. She is the IWC's WWE darling. She is who the IWC rolls with strong in WWE. And this is not to say casual fans are beginning to come around on Io Sky and are beginning to, I think, see what the IWC saw early on within Io Sky. But seeing her at number 2 on this list is very interesting. So let's get to number 1. I'm not going to scroll yet because I'm trying to think who hasn't been named. We've seen Becky. It's got to be Rhea, right? It's got to be Rhea. Let's go number 1. Number 1's Rhea Ripley. So number 1 is Rhea Ripley, and I think this makes sense. It's hard to argue against Rhea Ripley as far as WWE goes in the women's division. She is literally the personification of everything you could possibly want. She has a great personality. She has a very solid look, doesn't look like anybody else. She can talk on a microphone. She can work in the ring. When you run down the list of intangibles you want with a professional wrestler, I don't see where she's missing any of the pieces of the puzzle to become the number 1 woman in all of professional wrestling. So that list was interesting. No NXT names was a little bit shocking to me, especially with, you could make the argument of a couple people who got called up in the last couple of weeks who've been regularly on WWE programming for a list that was curated on May 1st. Seems a little interesting that these names didn't get the list. So let's flip it around. Let me give you my top 10 list of current WWE women's wrestlers, starting with, at number 10, I have Charlotte Flair. So I think that the IWC got this one pretty right. After WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair's, her drop-off should be studied, right? The ability to go from a highly respected and maybe number one in most people's book. There were a lot of people who probably would have put Charlotte number one had we not had to go through that entire WrestleMania debacle with Tiffany Stratton. So I think the study has to, the fall has to be studied as far as Charlotte going from probably top 3 to number 10 on someone like my list, a casual fan. At number 9, I have Tiffany Stratton. I think she is definitely trending upward on my list. I think she's definitely got all the potential in the world to break the top 5, even by the end of 2025. I think right now it's a little premature to move her too high up this list with what I've seen from other women in WWE this year. At number 8, I have Io Sky, someone who probably would not have been on my list pre-WrestleMania, but I think the run up to WrestleMania was very, very, very helpful for Io Sky. My guy Milwaukee Mike said it in the Discord the other day. Io's starting to grow on me. Io's starting to grow on me as well, Mike. Io, there's something about her. She's a little bit infectious. She is definitely, I don't think she's as good in the ring as the IWC keeps trying to explain to me, but I do think she's good in the ring. And so to me, I slotted her in at number 8. I thought that was a solid place on a casual wrestling list. Number 7 is going to shock a few people, but I have Stephanie Vaquer. I have seen enough of Stephanie at this point to understand that there is a real wrestler underneath that character, and there is a real entertainer underneath that character. And even with a language barrier, which I say is killer in WWE, she's resonating on all levels with the main roster, with the NXT crowd. So I see what everybody's talking about with Stephanie Vaquer. I think that she warrants a spot in a top 10 list as far as WWE goes. Now, if we're talking only main roster, I think it's hard to make the argument for Stephanie Vaquer because she hasn't appeared enough on the main roster. I'd argue, though, that appearing once in the last month is enough for me to give you a spot on a top 10 list. At number 6, I have Roxanne Perez, somebody I was very down on pre-Royal Rumble, and ever since the Royal Rumble, she has completely surprised me. She's completely changed my mind. I completely understand that she is the modern version of AJ Lee, just a little badass in a small package. She is able to make herself believable in a world of giants. That, to me, warrants being in my top 10 list. At number 5, I have Chelsea Green. Chelsea is the best. Chelsea is absolutely amazing. Chelsea goes above and beyond the call of what the job calls for, and that's what makes her so good. I don't know. Here's the funny part. I don't even know if Chelsea Green is or is not a good wrestler in between the ropes. All I know is that her character work is off the charts, and it's so off the charts that I don't really even pay attention when she's actually wrestling. I think she's a pretty good wrestler. I think I've heard that Chelsea Green is a good professional wrestler, but her character work alone is enough to warrant her into the top 5 of women in WWE. So that's where I have Chelsea. Number 4, I have I have Liv Morgan. Sorry. I have Liv Morgan at number 4. This is another one of the feel-good stories where Liv was, to me, on the borderline of I was saying for a while, about a year or two ago, that she needed a run in NXT. Well, someone lit a fire under Liv Morgan's ass. Somebody gave her the crash course on how to work a microphone. Someone gave her a crash course of what to do in a WWE ring, and all of a sudden, Liv Morgan is top 5 in WWE. That's crazy to say out loud. Liv Morgan is in my top 5 list of women in WWE. Number 3, I have Becky Lynch. I know this is the polarizing decision on this list, that there are so many people who say Becky's overrated, that say Becky can't cut a promo anymore. And I will agree on one thing. Somewhere along the line, Becky took a step back. It's like she got indoctrinated into the WWE system of cutting promos, but she's still, even with all of that, she's still one of the best and consistently gets the crowd reaction, the pop. Love the character. I love the new refined look we're looking at right now. That's not so over the top. She's actually making me give a shit about Lyra Valkyria and that storyline. So Becky's top 3. I think all time, if we go of all time, I think Becky is my argument for number 1. And so I think, and I know I said we're not bringing all time into this list. I'm just saying, I think right now she still warrants a spot in the top 3. So this is where the debate begins, right? It's 1 and 2. And I said at the beginning of this video, I might surprise you, but I'm going to be realistic. I'm not surprising you. The reality is I have Rhea Ripley number 2 as the best female wrestler in WWE, and I have Bianca Belair as number 1. I am sorry, call me biased, call me whatever you want to call me, but I actually see with Bianca Belair every intangible that you need to be the next John Cena, that you need to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. She has the ability to appeal to the casual fans. She has the work rate to appeal to the IWC. There was a year or 2 ago where she was in every match every night. You know, while she can be a little oversaturated, I will agree with that. She handles it in a way that I think is a little bit graceful as far as WWE, and the fact that a lot of people don't get tired of Bianca Belair. And I think we are entering an interesting spot in WWE. Now, I did say availability is the best ability, and she did break her fingers. I don't foresee that being a long injury keeping her out. I'm not even 100% positive that this isn't a little bit of a vacation where the fingers, you probably could still go, but they're going to let her have a little break to let the crowd relax a little bit, and then they can bring her back and see how the crowd reacts when she comes back to see. I think we're at a turning point with Bianca Belair. We could see her go babyface. We could see her go to the heel side. There's so many options you can do with Bianca Belair. I'm interested to see what a heel turn looks like with Bianca Belair. I'm interested to see what WWE's plan is moving forward. But to me, based off potential, based off what I've seen, based off my bias, Bianca Belair is my number 1 professional women's wrestler in WWE and in all of wrestling, if you want to be real honest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Drop your top 10 WWE females list in the Discord or under this video. Let's talk about it, guys.
Head down, we're ready